Oh, hello!
Hello.
Welcome to BTN Live, and welcome back for term 2. We hope you had a great holiday, a great break, and you're back in on it. Now, I've got two people either side of me. Oh, first of all, I'm Jack. Hello. And we've got Joe, who you probably recognise.
Hello, everybody.
And we've also got Sophie Holder, who is a political reporter.
State political
reporter for the ABC. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Can we start before, because we've got a whole heap of questions about the election. I'm sure you're very aware that it's happening tomorrow. And all of you probably are very aware of that too, because we did an entire special on it. But Sophie, do you want to just start by telling us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah.
What does a political reporter do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a state political reporter for the ABC here in Adelaide. So what I do is often chasing around politicians. That's how I spend a lot of my days, is chatting to them. And at the moment, that's meant a lot of federal politicians. So of course we had Peter Dutton and Anthony Albanese here yesterday. So often going to speak to them about, what they're hoping to do for the country and what promises they're making ahead of the election.
Nice. When you say chase, do you physically mean like...
I have
like,
physically chased
Mr.
a
Dutton,
politician
Mr.
before.
Dutton.
Not mostly because I was running late, and
Okay.
I've had to physically run after the premiere once, I think.
Okay.
There was video of it.
Yeah.
Won't show it. So yes, but no, we do spend a lot of
Okay.
time following them around.
Yeah, nice. Do you always, do you have a go-to question for a politician?
Oh gosh.
Or is it just usually based on what's happening?
Yeah, very much based on what's happening. I think a lot at the moment during the election, the big question is, how are you feeling? How are things
Okay.
going? One I was asking a lot yesterday is Saturday going to be a sleepless night? Which I think it will be for a lot of reporters,
Yeah.
but also for a lot of politicians. I'm sure they'll be very
Can
busy.
I also ask, and we will get to your questions because we've got a lot coming through. What's your job tomorrow look like?
Yeah, so tomorrow I'll be in the electorate of Sturt mostly, which is one of our 2 marginal seats here in South Australia. So I'll be chatting to people as they're heading to the polls, hopefully, and also then following as the vote comes through in the evening. We'll be watching that really closely to see who wins, obviously, just like everyone else is.
Yes, it'll be an exciting. Will you be watching, Joe?
I will be watching intently.
And if you could be watching it along at home as well, but if you don't, you can always tune into BTN next week because we will reveal the winner, I guess.
If you haven't heard about it already over the weekend.
Yes, you might have heard of it before
Maybe.
then, but if not, BTN will be your source on Tuesday, so a little bit late.
And also Monday
Oh,
for
and Monday
Newsbreak.
for Newsbreak. Good point, Joe.
right.
Thank you. All right, let's jump into some questions. Let's start with Andy from Rendlesham Primary School. Hey, Andy. And Andy wanted to know, do you have to pick one person and that person is your vote for life? So only one vote for life. Who wants to jump in?
You don't have to do that.
You
Some
could
people
be very loyal.
Some people
people
are
do.
very loyal to parties. So someone might be very loyal to the Labor Party, for example, and their family might have always voted for the Labor Party, and that's what they've grown up with. So it might be a thing. Not necessarily one particular politician, because they tend to, have a career that ends at some point and someone else steps in. So yeah.
And we don't, we don't vote for a particular person. We do, so we vote for the party. So
Yes.
unless you have a person who, is in that role for your entire life, you wouldn't probably be voting for them. You would vote for the party. Let's stick with Rendlesham Primary because you've sent in a whole heap of questions. And Stan asks, why do we have to have an election every 4 years? Why can't it be for life or until we step down? You all want it for life. Well, it isn't for 4 years, is it?
No, it's for 3 years.
It's 3 years.
3
Yes.
years in Australia.
I believe state governments are
Yes,
4 years.
a lot of state governments are 4 years,
Yeah.
yes. But the main reason why we do it differently and we vote new people in is because, like you said, not everyone lasts for a long time, but also to reflect changing opinions, I guess, and to give people a chance to show who they want. So obviously we live in a democracy where we vote, and the people who lead our country are reflective of who we choose to be there. So as people grow up, like I said, their votes might change or things like that. So it's important that it changes so that there is accountability for the people who are in power, so that we can tell them that we don't like what they're doing, or we do like what they're doing and we want them to come back, or we want to get rid of them. So that's an important reason as to why we vote.
Yeah. And so they obviously wouldn't be staying there for life.
No.
Some may.
Some are lifers.
Can we do? Is there a cap on how long you can be prime minister for?
I'm not sure if we do. We've got obviously some politicians who have been around for a really long time, like Bob Katter. He's been in power for a really long time. Even Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton have both been around for a very long time.
They have been in politics for a long time. I believe, is it 2 parliamentary terms?
2 terms?
Possibly.
Oh, no, because John Howard was 11 years. So how many terms is that? 3?
Well, that doesn't even...
No.
Into a 4th.
That's not
That's 4th.
visible. Yeah.
Wow. So there we go. A long time.
Yeah.
Check that one.
Whereas,
we will
like,
have to check that.
and you might be getting confused, Stan, with the US, because they are every 4 years will have an election, and even though it's not relevant to this, but they can only be in power for two terms.
That's where I heard that.
That's where, yes. This is a fun question from Steve from William Carey Christian School. Sorry, Steve wants to know: do you like democracy sausage?
Well, of course. I think everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the best part of the day.
I was going to say it's the
Absolutely.
best part of voting.
Yeah.
And I think there's more than just sausages now, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
other treats and options.
It's
There's
a lot
whole
more
maps
inclusive.
that show you, maybe where your mum and dad might be voting, where they can get a hold of a snack for you.
Wait, there are maps.
There's a map that shows you
Oh.
whether there's sausages or whether they've got other treats like cupcakes or lots of things. So it's
This
not
is
just
brilliant.
sausages.
That's
There
why
you
I'm
go.
deciding where to vote tomorrow.
Do you know where that is?
I'll find that. We can try and find the map for you guys.
And looping back to the last question, there is no time limit to how long someone can be prime minister in
you
Australia.
go.
So there we go. If they keep
Limit
getting
does not
re-elected,
exist.
they keep being prime minister.
I lost my... I was going to say, also send us in if your school is going to be hosting an election. So if your school is open tomorrow for people to come and vote, let us know. And because you might be able to give us the scoop on what potential food items we could get there. And then we can let everyone else know as well. Let's go... Ooh, Abby from the classical school. Oh, that sounds very formal. Abby wants to know, what do political parties do during an election? So it's a very busy time for them, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, a lot of what they're trying to do is convince people to vote for them.
Yes.
That's exactly what their job is. So they are often going out to communities and going to speak to people to tell them what they're going to do for them. And those are things that are called policies. So things that they're going to be doing, they'll promise to do if they're elected that'll make, hopefully, your life a little bit better. So yeah, that's often what they're out and about doing, making these sorts of meeting people and chatting and making those promises.
And they go all around the country, don't they? So,
All over the country.
like you mentioned yesterday, both Peter Dutton and Anthony Albanese were in Adelaide.
They
So,
were. Anthony Albanese, I believe, is going to 6 states in 72 hours or in 2 or 3 days, which is a lot of
Wow.
travel. They, I think, hit 3 different states yesterday. So
Wow.
very busy days.
Lots of handshaking.
Lots of
I
handshaking and
imagine.
selfies
And
is what he was doing
selfies.
yesterday.
Lots of that. So if you like shaking hands and taking selfies, maybe
You should be a politician.
Yeah, it's for you. Do we have a map of the democracy sausage, I think? Charlotte from Echunga Primary School. Am I pronouncing that terribly incorrect?
I think it's a chunga.
Echunga. That's why
Hope.
you're here. Charlotte wants to know, how many female prime ministers have there been? And what year was the first ever election ever held? So let's start with the first one. How many female prime ministers have there been?
One.
Julia
There has been
Gillard.
one. Julia Gillard. And that was 2006, was that, I think? Can't remember when that
No,
was.
maybe a touch
Mid-2000s.
later.
because Kevin 07.
Oh, was it
Kevin
Kevin?
07.
So 2009
I think 9 to 11 sort of
to
time.
11.
'Cause
Yeah.
she took over from Kevin 07.
Right, yes.
No, you're probably born during Kevin 07. It's the only campaign slogan I remember.
Was it one?
They haven't had one quite like that since. And Julia Gillard is from Adelaide.
She is
which
from
is
Adelaide.
where BTN's made. So, fun fact. Now, do we know what year was the first ever election ever held?
I'm not 100% sure, but we became a federation in 1901,
Indeed.
right? And that was when we decided how we were going to govern the country, and then the constitution was made and those sorts of things. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'd beg it was around then.
I think it was 1902.
Yeah.
I think it was 1902 because I know that the 3-year term rule came in 1902 because at the time they believed that was enough time for the government to make enough policies. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but basically they decided back then that was the time, and it just hasn't changed since.
Well, it was 1901.
It was 1901.
In March. 29 and the 30th of March. Oh, there you go.
Over 2 days.
Well,
Condensed it into one now.
yes. Jack from, what did we say it was? Echunga? Please send in the pronunciation guide for that. But Jack, great name, wants to know, when will the new Prime Minister be elected?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
hopefully.
hopefully. So for a Prime Minister to be elected, there needs to be a majority or near a majority if they can form a minority government. So that means that hopefully tomorrow night they have to get at least half. So they're a little bit over half. So there's 150... Is it 75 seats that they have to...
76.
76, yes. So 76 seats. So once one party, hopefully, has 76 seats, then their leader, either Anthony Albanese or Peter Dutton at this stage, will then become the Prime Minister. So hopefully tomorrow night we'll know.
Tomorrow night, but there have been some cases where it's too close to know, so it can actually end up going on for a few days. And then there's also the potential that a party won't get enough votes. Which I don't know if someone's asked that question, but maybe do we know what happens when that happens? It's called a hung parliament, I believe.
Yeah. And then there can be what's called a minority government formed. So that's where either Labor or Liberal haven't quite got that 76 to completely rule the parliament, and that's where they kind of go and talk to the other people. So often that's the Greens or the Independents. And then for the Liberals, it's often the National Party, and that's what we call the coalition. So they go and find those people, and they create they don't have a ruling in their own right, so they have to kind of find some friends that sit on the crossbench to help them out to form a government.
Yes.
And depending on how close it is, when I was at the Australian Electoral Commission and talking to them, they were saying that, depending how close it is, it could take up to a week, if not more, to get the final answer of who has won, depending on how close it is, of course. But yes, but they won't, the Electoral Commission will not announce who the winner is until every single vote has been counted, which can be weeks. So other outlets like ABC News and other outlets will probably predict and name a winner before they do, but it can take weeks.
There you go. So maybe we won't know next week.
It's possible that we won't. It's possible that we won't.
It's looking like a pretty tight race, so we never know.
You never know.
Do you want to know a behind the scenes of behind the news fact, which, because we have to write a week in advance almost, because our show comes out on Tuesday, so we have to try and predict. Well, we don't predict, actually. We write like 3 different versions of the election results. So you'll only see the one that is the actual true one. But Ren has to write 3 different stories, one for if the Liberal Party wins, one if the Labor Party wins, and then one if it's a hung parliament, and so we don't actually know. And that's because of the timing of when BTN goes out. So it's a lot goes into it for us.
Oh yes.
We do a lot of things.
You guys can just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can just enjoy it. Anyway, that's the behind the scenes. You probably didn't need to know that, or maybe not know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's go to... Oh, this sort of relates to what we've been talking about. So Danica from Cherrybrook, lovely name, Danica and Cherrybrook. What if a minor party wins the most seats? And when was the last minor party Prime Minister? So if the Labor or Liberal Party didn't win, I guess I guess they would just win, the minor party.
Yeah, it would be pretty unusual because we obviously have these two major parties that do really generally reach that majority or the near to it. So it would be really, really unusual if, say, the Greens or an independent did, or independents obviously running on their own wouldn't be able to form a government in their own right because they're not part of necessarily a party. But yeah, so it would be really unusual. And I don't think it's ever happened. It hasn't really happened.
The only time that it hasn't been the Liberal or Labor Party in power was once, I think, about 100 years ago. It was in the early 1900s that there was, I can't remember which party it was, but it wasn't the Liberal or Labor Party, and that's the only time that it's ever not been one of those two.
Yeah, and I believe that those parties that they were kind of eventually became the Liberal or Labor parties. So they haven't always been called Liberal or Labor. They were, some sort of nationals, farming, country sort of names. So yeah, they've kind of become Liberal and Labor now. Yeah,
there you go. But who knows?
Maybe we can make history.
Ren hasn't written a script for that. Or maybe she has. Who knows? Sven from Dijkirch School, Luxembourg.
Oh,
wow! Hey,
welcome,
hey,
our international
Sven.
viewers.
Why do Australian citizens have to vote in a federal election? Because, it's compulsory for us to vote, unlike other countries. Do we know why?
I actually don't necessarily know why, but it's the law. So you do legally have to vote. Once you're over 18, you're a citizen, you have to enrol to vote, and then obviously, of course, vote. And I'm not actually sure why. It's kind of part of our constitution. We have to.
I guess it's because we are a democracy. So it basically means that we have the power then to decide, and it's put the responsibility back on us. And if we didn't vote, say if us three just decided we're not going to vote,
busy, not going to vote,
we would get a fine. So I don't know do we know how much the fine is?
I'm not 100% sure.
Somewhere
I've always
between
voted.
$30
so
and
I've
$50, I think we landed on,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
So you can actually be fined if you don't vote. So it's important to. And there are actually a couple of questions from Yowie Bay Public School. Hey, Yowie Bay. I'm gonna ask them all at the same time because they're all kind of similar. But Charlie, Florence, Will, and Georgia want to know, what if you're on a holiday and you can't vote, or what if you're sick on the day and you can't vote? What happens then? I guess there's two ways you could go about it.
If you're going on a holiday, you generally know that ahead of time, so you can apply for a postal vote, which is the vote that you do from your home and then you post it in. You can also go to a pre-polling centre. So for the last couple of weeks, there have been polling places open where people can go and do early voting. And this year's actually been a record number of people early voting. But then on the day, if you are sick, then, and obviously you wouldn't expect that, you will get a notice in the mail a couple of days later from the AEC saying you failed to vote. What's your reason? You can just reply to them, I was sick this day. And if they think that that's appropriate and acceptable, they will just waive your fine, and basically you just don't get a vote, but you don't get fined for it.
There you go.
So there we go.
There you go. I actually have already voted.
I have too.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is that because you'll
Got
be
a busy
working?
weekend.
Yes.
I have not. I just want a democracy sausage, so I'm saving it for the day.
Well, that
I might cheat
was
and
it.
go get a democracy
Yes.
sausage anyway.
Well, you'll be there. So.
That's true, yeah.
All right, let's go to Suhani from Parramatta Public School wants to know, why are there a lot of ads for the federal election? Because I've seen a lot of ads.
There certainly are.
And it's part of the campaign. So apart from just the politicians going out and meeting people, there's also ads to try and convince people to vote for them. Yeah. Nothing more. That's it.
Summed up. I mean,
that's why. And so,
yeah.
and then after the election, all those ads will go away.
They will.
They will.
Isn't there a blackout period?
I
I think there is a blackout period before the election. 1 week before.
I think it's only a couple of hours,
Yeah.
a couple of days.
I'm not 100% sure.
Because I was still seeing ads last night. Interesting.
Yes.
Anyway,
Definitely saw some this morning.
yes. So maybe there is no blackout period this year.
Wednesday before poll.
Wednesday before polling day.
Yeah, so from Wednesday on.
Perhaps they're
Interesting.
online ones or radio ones versus... I
Yeah.
wonder.
I think that
Well,
actually no.
should we
I
look?
believe it's on television, on broadcast television. There are no ads
Yeah.
from the Wednesday, but then online there'll still be ads.
Okay.
See,
Online is
yes.
no restriction.
And there are so many ads online. I'm
Lots
sure
of
if any
ads.
of you have been on YouTube or anything, you would have seen a lot of ads.
I just wanted to go to this question that's come in from Hoxton Park Public School, and it's from Oafa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm so sorry, but they've asked, are you guys going to become a prime minister? Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe it'll be the next step after media.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess, Sophie, what got you into political reporting? Is it an interest in politics?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always had a bit of a loose interest in politics, but I also studied law at university,
Okay.
and always had a lot of interest in the legal system and those sorts of things. So when, my manager knocked on my door and said, are you interested in this? I was like, why not? There's a state election coming up. There's a federal election. It's a really exciting time to be in politics. And I think especially for young people, I'm obviously on the younger side for a reporter too. So it's really nice to try and engage with people who, are going to be the next generation of voters and people who are, maybe voting for the first or second time.
Yeah, and maybe one day we'll be voting for you.
Yeah, who knows? There's a few people that go from media to politics. It's certainly... It's happened. Yeah, Laura, there you go.
Yeah.
I know
Laura
there was
Tingle.
Nadia Clancy in South Australia. She came into my office when I was in the Riverland and she said, oh, can I sit at my old desk? And she's a politician now. So definitely it does happen.
There you go. Would you, Joe, ever go into politics?
I would consider it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm, the right fit for a politician.
What fit do they need?
Probably a bit more reasonable than I.
You wear suits around the office?
Sometimes I do. Yeah,
Or is
I
that
can
not
dress.
what you meant by fit?
Yeah, that's No, I can dress like a politician, but I might be a bit too silly for that.
That's half the job, isn't it? Being
Well,
silly.
That's true. I mean, I can shake hands and take selfies, so maybe.
Well, you're all over it.
And I can wear a suit. So
3/4 there.
I'm not going to rule it out. One day. Vote
And that's
one.
a very political answer. You're not going to roll it
I'm
out.
going to rule it out.
I just quickly want to mention this from Jade from homeschooling, who says, oh my gosh, Jack, I literally do circus school. I don't. Sorry, this is misleading. But maybe I should get into circus
I used to
school.
do circus school.
Really?
so
Yeah,
there we go.
that's right, you did,
I
didn't
did.
you?
I did. So this is a cool jumper. Can I buy one?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Sweet.
I don't sell them, but
Oh.
you're
Well,
very
I'll buy as
welcome
well.
to buy one.
Next Oscar reporter, next BTN Live, it'll be.
You'll be wearing this.
I'll be wearing that.
And I'll be sat in the corner. Okay. Let me. Let's go back up here. Well, this is a long question from Addison from the Rivers Secondary College Lismore High campus, TRSC-LHC. And Addison wants to know, how long has Australia been using the preferential voting system? Oh, there's a couple of questions. I'll ask them all and then we'll go back. Do you believe that it works better than if we just voted on one candidate? And why 3 years? And then and then Addison said, sorry for all the questions. You don't have to apologize. I really enjoy the show and have been watching BTN since primary school. We love that, Addison. So do we know why we have a preferential voting system?
Well, I guess in terms of why, it means that when we vote for someone, if they don't win, it means that your vote flows on to the next person on your
Yes.
list. So it means, I guess, that your vote keeps going. It's got a good chance. It helps out someone, no matter who it is, even if your top pick didn't actually get the overall win. So I guess that's a big part of why we do it, so that your vote isn't just a write-off, I guess, if the person that you vote for doesn't win.
Yeah, it's meant to make it as fair as possible.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know how long we've been doing it for, if it's since we started voting. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but it's certainly been
I'm looking it up.
around
Yeah.
for quite a while.
And the 3 years, that again came from the
Yes.
first time we voted,
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
Back in 1902.
Yeah.
That was written into the Constitution.
Until 1918, first past the post was used.
That's right.
Yes.
So until 1918, it was first past the post, which means
It's the same way the US vote.
Yes.
So whichever candidate, because they vote for the candidates there, gets the number of votes first is the winner. That's it. That's the end.
Yes. So this
Um,
way, it's like if the person you voted for didn't get the majority of the votes, at least hopefully the next one you voted for or the one after that Yeah, and we actually have. We can probably show because we haven't shown these props.
Oh, yes.
But the ballot papers
Yes.
that you use to vote, and so you can see, if you can. Oh, I'll try and not get in the light, but there's all these different parties you can vote for. That
So there are 2 ballot papers.
there are 2.
Mm-hmm, there are.
So this little green one is for, there's 2 levels of parliament. There's the House of Representatives, which is the lower house, and the Senate, which is the upper house. And basically, those 2 laws and new bills have to pass through both of those houses before they can become law. And so on here, you're voting for a candidate in your electorate, which is the local area that you live in. And they will belong to one of the parties, Labor, Liberal, Greens and whatnot. So you vote there, you put all your numbers there from 1 to 6 of who your preference is, and then you drop them in the ballot box like that. And then you do the same with the Senate papers, except on here there are a lot more options.
Yes.
It's a scarier looking paper, but the top row, you can choose, there's 2 options with this. You can either choose to do the top row, where you have to number at least 6 of the boxes in your preference, and at the top of the parties, the name of the parties. So you have Labor, Liberal, Greens, and so on. But then below you have specific candidates, and there you can vote for the specific candidate. So you can number them 1 to 12. There's a lot going on these papers, but that's basically the 2 ballot papers. And then when that's done,
do you want to pop it in the box?
you fold it up and you put it in the box. There it is.
You go. Very easy.
But yes, voting can be confusing for people who haven't done it before, especially when they're handed the big white paper.
Yeah, and it's why a lot of the time, I don't know if that's an example of it, but a lot of the time different parties will actually sort of put out how they if you align, I guess, with one particular party, then they often have resources or something that you can go and look at, and they'll tell you how to number it, which is going to, I guess, benefit them or which aligns more with their values. So they've already done the research. But I guess anytime voting, you should probably have a bit of a think about who you want to vote for. A lot of you don't have to worry for a few years. But I think we've run out of time. So what we typically do at the end of BTN Live is that I'll just shout out some school names, and we give them a bit of a hello, how you going? Can do any sort of noise, a woo. So let's give that a go. We've got Holy Spirit Primary School.
Woo!
Fantastic. Rendlesham Primary.
Hello.
And preschool. Can't miss that.
G'day.
Cherry Blossom.
Hello, how you going?
Good and Beautiful Homeschooling.
Good afternoon.
Salesians College.
How you going?
Bell Park North Primary.
Bonjour.
St. John's Park.
Hola.
Yucca Future Learning.
How you going?
MLC. I don't know what that stands for.
Oh, Guten Morgen or Guten Tag.
Oh,
That's good. I'm running out.
William Carey Christian.
Hi.
The Classical School. Yeah, we've got that
The
one.
classical school.
I'm just going to go for a wave.
This one says Phoenix. Are you from Phoenix?
Wow.
In the US? I don't know. Another
Howdy.
Phoenix here. East Gippsland Specialist School.
Heya.
Santa Clara. Is that also in the US?
Sounds like it.
I don't know.
Peace.
We had heaps from
Echunga.
Echunga.
In the hills, I reckon.
Oh,
goodness.
Lovely.
Hi. Running out of options here.
Yowie Bay.
Buongiorno. That's good morning, I think.
Hoxton Park Public.
Oh no. I'm going to go another Guten Tag.
That's-
There's too many things
Well,
here.
all right, we'll leave it there.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
This is the most stressful part of the day. It really
this
is.
was
For me, I have to try and pronounce all these school names. Thank you all so much for sending in your questions. I hope you learnt something. A big thank you to Sophie for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. Stressful, but a lot of fun.
Just the end, though.
Just the end.
I hope tomorrow goes well.
Me too, yes. Fingers crossed we can get a few democracy sausages.
Yes, that's what I meant by well, that you get a democracy sausage. And you too, Joe. Thank you so much. I hope you get a democracy sausage.
It's the first thing I'm going to do. do.
And I hope all of you, if anyone's going along to vote with your parents, I hope you also get a democracy sausage or a treat of your choice. And
Check out
if
the
it's
map.
not your first choice, hopefully it's your second.
Preferential treats.
Yes. We'll be back next week with another episode and another BTN Live. I have a feeling it's about conclaves, but we'll confirm it in the show. And we'll also be back with a new Prime Minister, or the same one.
Who knows?
Or none. Nah, we'll have one at least. But yeah, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.